Right then, here's one of my latest projects. Now this is an organically styled gate I've made for some customers of mine. It's a commission. This is for a very, very old historic cottage in the local town. So the first job was to get on the press to make the left-hand side of the frame with a nice curved top, and then set about making the hinges. Now these hinges are custom made by me to fit the original hinge eyes that are leaded into the stone wall, which I'm guessing are from the 1800s. So piece of bar, cut it off on the bandsaw, that's what it leaves there, that finish, and then face it off on the lathe to make it nice and flat and parallel. So that's what we're doing here. Nice new carbide bit, so cuts it like butter. So there we go, that's it faced off, and then it's time to turn down the outer diameter here, up to the mark, which you can't really see, but I can see it. And there we go. So there's the pin. The thick end is to go in the hinge, and the thin end is the dowel to go in the hinge plate. As you can see there, the bottom hinge is slightly curved because that goes into to match the original hinge eye. So here we are, cutting down a bit of flat bar to make the hinge plates, and then drilling them out on the milling machine. Could do this on the pillar drill, but I think it's quite like drilling things on the mill. And then time to TIG weld the bobbin pin onto the plate. I'm using the TIG weld here so to get a nice load of heat on it, a lot of penetration. I can fill the hole without putting too much metal in. So there's the left hand side of the frame there, using the TIG welder to just tack the hinges in place. It's quite good because you can do it in a really controlled way, with a MIG tends to fire it in a bit much. Went over it again with the MIG to get a nice strong big weld on there. But there they are in place, nice and square. You can use these little magnets with the TIG because it's not trying to push the metal out of the way. It keeps everything held in place nice and gently. Then it was time to start measuring out. Now I had about 100 different measurements because the walls and the ground and everything where this gate went were all weird shapes due to the age. So lots of measurements, and then back over to the press to start forming the top of the gate frame. And this was done very carefully and slowly over quite a long period of time. Keep checking, going back, small adjustments here. It's very easy to overbend it. You just want to go little bit, and it soon starts to take shape. And then just take a bit of time over getting it the shape that I want. Now I've done a sketch for the customer, so they could see what we're aiming for. Wanted something with an original sort of frame, quite a contemporary frame, with a bit of a modern twist for the infill. So here you can see it took quite a long time going backwards and forwards making the top, and then time to tack the top of the frame together so that we can start working on the bottom. Again, referring to the multitude of measurements. It's very easy to get carried away when you've got a square welding bench and make the gate square, but it was important not to make the frame square because the hole wasn't square. And if you make a square peg and put it in a dodgy hole, it looks wrong. Here's Adam showing us that it's a lot easier to form things gently on the press. And then of course it'd be rude not to let him have a go on the press.
Looking straighten the cock out. Can't mute that.
Now it's time to make the bottom part of the frame, so curving both ends, quite a traditional shape here, and then welding this to the outer frame and then grinding it back to make a perfectly seamless frame, and trimming everything to suit. That's what we're doing here, using the MIG. Quite happy with this MIG welder. It's brilliant. It's got two potentiometers for the feed and for the voltage, so you can adjust it anywhere you like. It doesn't like to be too clever with you. It does exactly what you ask of it. If that's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. You're in control of it, which is what I like. Anyway, here we are now drilling the holes in the frame for the infill. The infill is decorative swirly metal, shall we say. So drilling all the holes. So they're drilled top and bottom, and then the metal's woven in. And then this takes quite a long time because you have to do it and then look at it and change it and move it about. I suppose it's quite artistic, really, if you want to be like that. So it's weird. It takes quite a lot of getting right. It can look unbalanced very easily, and also it needs to look sort of random. if you think about it too much, you end up making it look too convoluted and it just doesn't look right. So we're leaving excess out the bottom and excess out the top, so this is all trimmed to suit. And again, to go with the shape of the top and the bottom of the frame, balance it up. So there we go. Now I'm happy with it. Get it all welded together. And then time, oh there they are, rolling by. They're the balls. So these are to go on the top of the frame. Again, a bit more decoration and add a bit of balance to it. Like everybody else at the moment, if this frosty weather seems to have got an awful cold, so you might have noticed and found it sounding a bit nasally. I'm probably talking a load of nonsense because I can't think right. There we go, so that's all the infill done, and then I made the latch using more of the flat bar and another ball for the handle. So the customer has a nice ceramic sign that someone's made. It's a picture of their cottage. So I thought, mill out some of these balls to make some slots so that the sign can be slid in and out. It needs to be able to be taken away because it's ceramic and it doesn't want to be out in the frost. I could have done this in the milling machine, but the milling machine didn't like hanging on to the balls. It kept throwing them out of the vise. So I welded it to a piece of bar, put that in the tool post on the lathe and milled them out on the lathe. Worked quite well. Probably lots of people won't like the fact that I did that, but sometimes you've got to do things in a creative way to get the job done. So that's what we did, and then got those welded on. This piece of plywood is my replica of the sign, made to measure. So there we go, sliding it in and out. I made it a slightly tight fit on the ply because the ceramic sign is ever slightly thinner. This is 10mm and there's 8, so it needs a bit of play so they can get it in and out. So there we go. And then it was time to take it off to the customer and give it a trial fit and, well, get everything sorted out. So there we go. You might be able to see that the walls aren't parallel. They're parallel with each other, but they're not vertical. So there it is hung. There's the sign. There are the hinges. They're the original hinges. Haven't been used for many, many years, but they're back in use now, which is rather nice. And this is a very, very old cottage with lots of history. So there we go. Close the gate. Try the latch. There we go. Into the wall. Job done. Really enjoyed this project and hopefully you've enjoyed seeing it too.